Hello, my name is Grian, and about a year ago I made a video about making custom nether portals. Well, since then it's been a long time, and the team and I have put together a bunch of fresh ideas. So, let's get straight into it. The first one, as you can see, is this pretty cool nature one. So we've obviously got our portal in the middle here, but we've decorated it massively. We've got flowers either side, a nice pathway, and you can't see the obsidian from the front, which is one of the key features. We've got a couple of custom trees which look really, really nice, and they look harder to make than they really are. You basically form a trunk, but make sure it's got a bit of curve in it here and there, and a couple of staircases, and spam leaves to your heart's content, making sure that some of them droop over. The main thing about this portal is the border, and the little details that we have overhanging into the purple portal itself. All of these staircases and these fences protrude inwards and make it look like even the wood is growing over it. On the back, we haven't covered it up so you can see how it's inset inside of this frame, but of course if you were going to make this portal, you would either cover this up completely or replicate it on the other side so it's a two-way portal and it works both ways. So that's number one. It's a pretty cool portal if I don't say so myself. The next one is a pretty interesting design. Now, hiding a portal behind a waterfall is not perhaps an original concept, but I want to point out how much you cannot tell that it's there. You can see the animation of the portal on the left, but when water's in the front of it, you can't see the portal at all, which makes it a perfect opportunity to hide it in plain sight. So obviously we've covered up the majority of the obsidian with some stone and some cobblestone staircases and all that kind of stuff. All of these designs aim to hide the portal in some way or to decorate it, so that often means covering up the obsidian. This is obviously some custom terrain, and you won't find this in a vanilla world, so making a waterfall like that will hide the portal if you make sure that it extends all the way over the purple bit. So, this looks like a normal room, and you might see the odd particle here or there, and you may even know what's coming. So, this is supposed to be a normal bedroom. It's got a carpet, bed, all of the furniture, wallpaper, the lot. But inside of this wardrobe, as you might have guessed, is a portal, much like Narnia. So that was what this whole concept was supposed to resemble. You know, go into the wardrobe, find a magical land, that kind of thing, although you will have to hide the portal behind it. Not many people make walls 3 blocks thick inside their houses, so that's something you have to consider when you're planning on putting this inside a wardrobe. And the other thing is the particles that bleed through the wall. The only other option is to put them further back, and it's a similar concept in here. We got another one. This is a living room with a nice cabinet and some custom heads, and this isn't really an interior video, but there's some really nice features in here that I feel the need just inherently to point them out, like the lampshades and all that kind of stuff. But behind the painting we've got a bunch of signs that are holding it up, and then a portal behind it. Like I said earlier, if you want to hide all of these particles, then you need to set the portal even further back, which means making the walls even thicker, which means even more pre-planning. So it's quite difficult, but doable. The next one is the idea of using your city wall or your wall that protects your builds or whatever, and sticking a portal in there. I might be incorrect, but I believe mobs can go through a portal, especially from the nether to the normal world, so that's kind of interesting. Might get some pigmen just walking in. So yeah, it's a pretty cool idea to use a normal archway within your wall, maybe even next to the normal entrance, or maybe on the other side. It's completely up to you, but the concept is there. Pretty cool use of different blocks for this wall. Next one is my personal favorite, which is the cave design. So obviously you need to pretend that this is either underground or inside a hill or something. It's not just sitting in a block on the outside of the world. So we've got a custom cave, which we've made several times on this channel, and if you don't know, we just mix in a bunch of textures: andesite, cobblestone, buttons, that kind of thing. You will not find this in a vanilla world. You have to mix all of these textures together and use slabs and staircases to make these shapes. So obviously the portal itself is at the back, but we've also got this little one up in the left hand corner which you can't actually go in, and it's meant to just decorate the first portal, the one that's meant to be the dominating one. So if I was to do this again, I'd probably make the center one a lot bigger and then have even more smaller ones, so it looks like the entire back of the cave is one portal behind there. So that's a cool little trick, having multiple portals there. The next one is a particularly special one, because there's probably a very low chance that you'll be able to make this really epic looking dragon just from looking at my videos, because normally I don't put things up for download. However, this was made by Pearlescent Moon, and as you can see, it's got an amazing shape to it, and on her channel she's actually put together a block for block tutorial on how to make it. It is pretty long, so if you want to make it, be prepared that it'll take 30 to 40 minutes, but it looks excellent. If you have a medieval castle or something and you want to have a centerpiece portal, this would look excellent. Obviously I don't do block for block tutorials here, and the portal sits right with the dragon guarding it over the top, or it might even look like it's part of its belly. Either way, this is a fantastic looking portal, but it's way too complicated to demonstrate in this video alone. So there'll be a link in the description if you want to check that out. Next up is another design which is aimed to be themed and decorative, but not quite as complicated as the dragon itself. So we've got this pedestal either side of our portal, we've got a frame that goes all the way round, mixing in different types of sandstone block, and we've also got this pattern that indents inside of the portal. All of our little decorations, as you will notice, tend to do that. Creating these shapes with staircases is quite difficult sometimes. It's hard to tell how they're done, so that this is just two and then a slab on the side, but they make really cool isometric shapes. And we've got a couple of statues of jackals which are found in Egypt. They're quite common in their mythology and their beliefs. So, you know, ancient Egypt that is, not current Egypt. But they make really cool additions to protecting this portal. So they're actually fairly easy to make, and I'm pretty sure you could copy them just from looking at this video. So this is a really nice looking portal. We've got another themed one coming up, which is more oriental. This is a shrine entrance, typically found in China, Japan, Korea, and that kind of thing. It's got a very different style and shape, but this is another excellent concept for a themed build. I haven't actually done any oriental style builds yet, but there definitely will be one coming up for those of you that want to be able to build a pagoda or a Japanese or Chinese style house. I won't pretend to know a lot about these. While I was in Japan, I was told this one thing where you walk to the side rather down the middle of these, because the middle is where the spirits go and the people will go either side of them. So that's the one bit of information I know. So we got a mixture of different blocks, it's a typical red style, and it looks really, really cool. I love this portal design. I think it's a really clever way of using this shrine entrance. Next up is more of a Stargate pleaser. It's a futuristic circular shape that looks more like a boom tube than anything else. So you have a bunch of circles that get smaller and smaller every time, and they're a different block every time. An interesting thing is the use of purple stained glass here, because you can't really tell, but it makes the portal seem like it's got an outline, so that's a really cool technique. The downside of this is obviously that you need to hide the obsidian all the way around, so you can't quite have a very thin portal here. It's got to be thick enough to hide the purple swirls. And lastly, you might recognize this house from a very recent video, Noob to Pro building tutorial, where all I've done is turned the garage door into a portal. Obviously, cars don't work in Minecraft, and building one is just for aesthetic purposes. So if we turn the door into a portal, all of a sudden it becomes very, very functional, which I think is a cool way to include a portal in builds where you normally wouldn't have one, particularly suburban houses like this. So that's all of the designs that I want to show you today. Hopefully one of these has taken your fancy and you really want to make a style themed portal like one of these Anubite ones or the dragon one, in which case go down into the description where Pearl has made a block for block tutorial, the cave one for those of you that like to live underground, the wall one for those of you that like to live inside a fortress, and the interior ones for those of you that like more modern or just a very subtle one hidden away, or for those of you that live outside, there's the waterfall one, and the first one we did, which is the nature one for those of you that live in a forest. I've tried to cover many bases, and the last thing to do is to thank Pearlescent Moon and Happy Jellyfish for their help on making these portal designs with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and what showcase you would like next. Goodbye.